You measure backwards, not forwards. If you measure forwards and always compare yourself to someone else, there's always someone that's going to be at a different level as you.
Oh, in a full year, and that lets you save. Who cares?
Welcome to a brand new edition of Ageless Energy, where we talk about how to burn fat, increase energy, and balance hormones for women over 40. Over the past 20 years as a performance coach, I've worked with hundreds of women that have the exact same struggles you do. I hope to shine some light with this podcast on what can be the most challenging time of your life and let you know there is hope to find success with your health and what you're looking for. Please share and enjoy. Today we are talking about how to squash holiday stress before it ruins your entire season. So I feel like this is a great time to talk about it before we get in too deeply. But I think it's worth mentioning that holiday stress or the holidays are now, because this is the most stressful time of the season without question. The most stressful time of the year is here. It's now, and it's slowly building up. And I think that's worth mentioning because a lot of times people are like, oh, Christmas or the holiday season, whatever you want to call it, is it's not till Christmas or it's not till a week before or whatever it is, that however you want to spin it in your mind is false, in my opinion. And that today, it's already started. Like, stress is already starting to build up. People are already doing their holiday shopping, right? Their Christmas shopping. Decorations are up. And it's always a little bit extra, right? It's not like, it doesn't hit you like one big wave. It's like death by 1,000 cuts. It's like, oh, I got to do Christmas lights. I got to buy a tree. And then, of course, you're buying more Christmas lights. I'm going to talk about finances here. It's a slow buildup, right? It's the parties, it's the gatherings, it's the family events, seeing friends. It's a lot and it becomes overwhelming. So I think my very first tip or suggestion is for you to understand, like, it's here now, like today. It is slowly building up until you get closer and closer. And it's like we're a giant volcano inside. And we continue to get stressed out and we continue to, our health declines. Like, I feel like our health really breaks down from the inside out at a cellular level. And that comes from mental, emotional, a lot of different reasons or purposes other than just physical. I feel like it shows up physically last on our body. Like, you ever seen someone that just like freaks out and you're like, whoa? I mean, I'm sure everyone has seen it. They just randomly like freak out or they like explode, and it has nothing to do with that situation. And it probably seems odd and confusing for people. Like, why are they yelling at me? And it has nothing to do with that situation. Something stressful has built up in their life and they just can't take it anymore. And the thing here with stress is we don't have a stress valve. It's not like you can open up a valve in our body and it's like, like, to reduce the stress in our life. So we have to take these steps that I'm going to share with you today. But taking a step back here is number one, is understanding that it's here now. So you have to prepare for it and wrap your head around it. So it's not continually being built up. You're like, okay, I understand that this is happening in my life. What can I do about it? And so now that we have step one is understanding that it's here. It's not going to get here soon. It has arrived. Like, the stressful holiday season has arrived. Markets, family gatherings, food. Like, I would imagine people already have extra desserts, or they're at least planning for them. The chocolate, the extra chocolate is out. What's your favorite chocolate? Mine's Lindt. Mine is the Lindt chocolate, but all of those are so good. And I tasted this new one. Okay, I got a couple things for you. I like those Lindt chocolate balls, right? And I'm not going to say don't eat them, but I eat them in moderation. And that's crazy to think like I wouldn't consume any of that because being a coach in our business, our profession, we lead by example. In this case, moderation. But I had this, I love dark chocolate. And I'm not a huge fan of coffee, but this is kind of crazy. I like the espresso. I think they're espresso beans. You like can chew on them. So I had this friend one time. She bought me. She had this little bag, and she's like, "Here, I think you'd like these." No idea why. And they were chocolate covered espresso beans. Can someone help me out there? I think that's what it was. I haven't had them very often. I don't even know if I've ever bought them, but I've had them a handful of times, and I really like them. So there was these new Lindt balls that are dark chocolate, and they are hazelnut. I love hazelnut espresso. Okay, so check this out. I was just looking at calories because we're doing more calorie counting than ever with our clients. And so one little ball of Lind, is that how you say it? Lind? Is it T? Oh my gosh, Ghirardelli? Is that how you say that? So those little balls are 80 calories. And I thought like, holy, I would guess they'd be maybe 20 calories. But here's the thing. Most people don't have one, right? If you're having 2 or 3, let's say you have 3 calories. That's a lot. That could be at least a snack meal to a meal. So if you grab a handful, let's say, how many would you eat? Do we have any honest people in the crowd? Does anyone besides Shelly enjoy those? Let's say someone would grab 3, and maybe it's not all at one time. Maybe you eat 3 in a day. That's a meal, and that could be 300 calories over your over what you should be consuming, right? And that's going to gain weight alone. Like just having 3 of those every day for the next week, right? You're slowly going to gain weight. Like I feel like we need to put this into perspective because we're like, oh, 80-20, right? I can't stand that. Oh, I'm pretty good. I'm 80-20. And I look at their plan and I'm like, so 80% junk and 20% good. Like if we allow ourselves 80-20, we almost always flip it. So that's why I am like, first of all, stay away from 80-20. And second of all, you do everything you can to stay on track. And when you kind of have things you probably shouldn't have, then you let that go and move on, but you improve, you commit to getting better. Sometimes if they're sitting on the counter, I'm going to have one too. That's why we give these tips. Like, don't put it on the counter. They probably shouldn't be in the house. And then but the challenging part here is during the holiday season, you're going to friends and family and they're like sitting on the counter. And I'm like, put them away. And so I could easily have 2 or 3 in a day. If you're at a family member's house and they're sitting on the counter and I want to be healthy. It's not going to bother me weight wise because my metabolism is naturally very high and it's difficult for me to gain weight. But those people, like that's rare, right? Most people deal with the other side of the coin where it's like, okay, if I'm going to eat 300 extra calories, you're going to gain a pound. And the problem on top of that is it's not one time, right? It could be 3 times a week, especially during the holiday season. Like the more times we go and visit, the more extra drinks you're going to have, the more extra chocolate balls you're going to have, the more desserts. And then we're 5 to 10 pounds overweight in early January. We don't even know what happened. We got hit by this giant whirlwind. So, but as we talk about stress, we have to understand that we're continually putting stress on our body. So that's a big one for me that I want to touch on here is that the more low quality food like refined sugar, processed, hydrogenated oils, desserts, chocolates, the more we consume those types of things, the more our body becomes stressed out. So if you look at a vase, for example, or a glass, the more things that you do to weaken your immune system, or on the other side, like chocolate bar, cake, extra alcoholic beverage, you're increasing your stress levels until it pops like a champagne bottle or like a volcano. And then there you are freaking out at your kid, your spouse, your dog for no apparent reason and not realizing, not connecting the two. Like, my gosh, I have just been sabotaging my results, my health, my immune system for the last 3 weeks, and I finally blew up on someone. What did you think was going to happen? Of course that was going to happen, because if we look at our cup and we keep filling it up with the things that we shouldn't be consuming, and things that we probably don't consume, to be fair, for most of us, I hope, that you don't consume on a regular basis anyways. You're not consuming those things, so it's rare, and your body's in a different state. So the thing is, like, if you could think of your body as the strongest state of being, it's probably relaxed. It's internally strong. Like, you have a strong immune system. You're strong at a cellular level. You're mentally confident, right? Like, you're probably exercising, you're probably breathing fresh air, you're probably getting sunshine, you're putting good quality foods in your body. Like, that's a strong state of being. But the problem is that during the holiday seasons, we continue to do things to weaken our state of being. And that's when this is when our stress is at an all-time high. And that's one of the reasons, because we're filling our glass up with the wrong things. And I'll talk about what you should be filling your cup with instead. But it's very clear, like, we're painting a very clear picture of our action steps. Like, what action steps are you taking, or are you eliminating that you normally do? So let's say you just have one, but it's for how long, right? Like, one a day, one a week. Not picking on you, Shelly. I'm just saying, like, we should think about this as a whole. Like, if you're saying, like, we know there's more chocolates around, right? We know there's more drinks, there's more desserts, there's more appetizers, whatever it is, there's more of those types of things that we probably shouldn't be consuming, right? You may consume them once a week or once a month, but during the holiday season, it's probably 3 times a week, if not more. So, I mean, at the very least, don't buy that stuff at your house. Okay. That's number one. Don't buy that stuff and put it in your house, because you're going to be going to family and friends who have that stuff out, right? So if you're going to get it somewhere else anyways, because it's there, right? Like, it's so difficult to say, we're going to put that on the counter and you're not going to touch it, right? It's like constant temptation. Like, we're addicted to sugar. That's like, you have a drug addict and we're all drug addict when it comes to certain things. So you put some type of narcotic on the table and there's a drug addict in the room. What do you think's going to happen? So that's the thing, is, like, I think if we were honest, like, all of us, we're going to other places where there's going to be temptations. And you can decide, like, make a decision. Like, do you want that? Like, do you want that in your life? Like, if I'm like, okay, I'm going to have a couple Lindt chocolate bars or balls today. Great. Have those and move on. But the thing is, like, there's a couple things, is that we consume those types of things far too long. So it's not one day or 1 week. It's 3 weeks or more. 3 to 6 weeks is probably fair for the holiday season. And you have to look afterwards as well, right? So it's probably 3 to 6 weeks of pre-holiday season. And then from there, the 25th is, what do we have? Boxing Day. And then we have New Year's. And then after New Year's, there's like this giant slump in life. Like, then real, like, seasonal depression hits hard. It's cold. Like, at least in Alberta or in Canada, the winter is bitter cold. In the new year, we don't really have a whole lot of things to look forward to, because the days are darker, or the days are shorter, less sunlight. It's I'm explaining misery here, but that's what the thing I'm talking about here is that I don't think we rationalize what's happening in our life. So we've gained 5 to 10 pounds over a 6-week period because of Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. Like, those alone are 4 days. And if you take one of those days and go completely off the rails, you could gain 3 pounds. And that might not seem like a lot, but if you're doing that for 6 weeks, what do you think is going to happen? Or if you're doing that for every one of those days for 4 days alone, and you're gaining weight those days. And it's not just about gaining weight, right? That's not my bag. That's just a clear picture, because when we work with our clients, like we're looking at a downward scale, we're looking at them seeing results regularly, we're making sure like they're staying on track. But it's the same thing as you could look at pain or inflammation, right? Like the more I could talk to just about any one of our clients that deals with some type of chronic pain or inflammation, and what happens when you eat more processed food or refined sugar. Your inflammation starts to get inflamed, like your joints start to get inflamed, inflammation, and then you start to get more pain. So during this time of year, you can put anything on it. It's just the weight gain that I think people really don't understand is like, oh my gosh, the average person gains almost 8 pounds. I was reading a study not too long ago. The average person gains over, and that's crazy. Like, oh no, that's probably not true. I knew someone told me they gained 15 pounds. They were on a week. I think it was a week or 10 days of the cruise. And I was like, how could you possibly gain 15 pounds? And then they're like, have you been on a cruise? I have not. And I guess you can eat as much as you want, as often as you want all day long, including alcoholic beverages, desserts. So maybe that's the thing, but gaining almost double digits that's not a stretch. If you're going to do it, if you're going to completely go off the rails for 4 to 6 weeks, I think that's easily done, because you know how hard you work to keep that weight off. So again, it's not just about weights, but that's why I want to talk about, did I say weights? Not just about your weight. It's about your mental ability to function during stressful times. It's about reducing chronic pain. How about digestion? Like our digestion is going to be completely flipped upside down by all the junk we could possibly be putting in our body. And then you're dealing with heartburn, indigestion, constipation, diarrhea. It's all digestion issues on different spectrums. But the thing is that you could spend a few weeks doing whatever you want because it's the holidays and you're giving yourself some leeway, and because it's 80-20, and then you're going to be spending the next 3 months beating yourself up over it and trying to figure out how to get back to where you were 3 months before, right? It just doesn't seem worth it to me. One of my main tips about finances, some people said that one of the main stressors is finances. And I feel like a budget. I don't love budgets. I don't like a whole lot of structure. I'm kind of all over the place in certain areas of my life, but budgeting is something that we do and we stick closely to. And it's something we have regular conversations about, because I don't want to fall into that trap of making more money, spending more money. You need a fancier house or car, trying to keep up with the Joneses. Like one of the best books I've ever read and the best advice that I've ever heard was, you measure backwards, not forwards. If you measure forwards and always compare yourself to someone else, there's always someone that's going to be at a different level as you. And it could be for a dozen different reasons.
One of the things I would like to ask of you guys is that some of you know that I don't run ads on the show and don't plan on in the immediate future. So the only ask I have for you is that you help us spread the word so we can help more women burn body fat, increase energy, and balance their hormones. And the only way that we can do that is if you can rate and review this podcast. So the single thing that I could have you do or could ask of you is to leave a review. It'll take 5 minutes or one swipe of the thumb. It would mean the absolute world to me. And more importantly, you could change the world for someone else. As many of you know, there's plenty of women that struggle in this age group for balancing hormones, increasing energy, and burning body fat. So if you could help spread the word, that would make a big difference in our life and probably someone else's as well.
So you measure backwards to where you started from. Maybe you don't have pain anymore. Maybe you are feeling better, more confident. You're fitting in your clothes better. But you're always like, oh, why did that person lose 17 pounds and I lost 8 pounds? And then the person that lost 3 pounds is like, why did I lose 3 pounds? They lost 8 pounds. And then the person's like, well, why am I gaining 2 pounds? Like it could go, there's a huge spectrum of that, right? So you compare yourself to you. That's it. So that's the financial end of it, is buying bigger presents and fancier presents and more presents. Like I really hope that we can raise our child around experiences, family, food in a healthier manner, and maybe just being together. I really I have a really hard time with like overspending and over like it's almost like gluttonous, right? Like we have so many things, and we're so grateful for all the toys and the gifts. We have a lot of friends that have kids that are a little bit older, so they gift us a lot of toys, clothes. We have family. Like we're so grateful. There's so much abundance. But I also feel like I have some friends and their kids have like a Toys R Us in their bedroom. Like there's no room for their bed because they have so many toys. And I just think like us as adults, we do the same thing. We're like, oh, I'll buy something fancier, and I'll buy something. And then I always feel like I have this like internal guilt because I'm like, we should spend more on this person. We should spend more on that person. Like, and like that doesn't make the holiday season very, very enjoyable. So we don't do that. So we've been getting better over the years of having a strict budget, getting something thoughtful, something that we feel that they would appreciate, and then trying to spend time together as family or friends. And hopefully that'll substitute or also add into a joyful experience instead of being like, wonder, because then you're like, oh, well, they only spent this much money on me, then we should only spend that much money on them. Like it's crazy, like what happens to our brain with all that stuff. So at any rate, I think that our financial situation would be much better if we had a budget that we stuck to. Talk about that with your spouse, if you have one, or your partner, or work that out yourself to be like, this is what I'm going to do, and be okay with it. I think that's important. I mean, I got to talk about exercise, right? It's not something that's super exciting or interesting, but when it comes to stress, exercise is the number one way to reduce stress. And here's the thing, is that the more stressed out we become, the less we exercise. And it's not just exercise, right? It's the more things that we do to fill our cup. So I talked about the things that weakened our state of being. So now we have to look at the things that we can fill our cup with, right? So you're looking at quality food, putting quality food in your body, especially like protect your digestive system. Like we talk about digestion all the time. I'm going to do a whole talk on it specifically about digestion, but activated charcoal, chlorella, fermented foods, chicory root tea. Like there's a bunch of things that you can do to protect your digestive system, especially during this time, right? So do those things, especially if you know you're going to go to family or friends or restaurants that may not have the best quality foods, oils, refined sugar, whatever it is. Protect your digestive system. We have to fill our cup up continually because we know it's being drained. And then the other side is exercise, right? Something that I'm quite proud of is that this last 2 weeks, at least 10 days, we were super stressed out with all the decisions we had to make for the gala and trying to keep up with our clients and getting our regular work done. Like our regular work feels like we can hardly keep up. And on top of that, we had this huge gala that we had to plan for. And one of the things I'm most proud of is that both Dorothy and I exercised throughout the last couple of weeks because we knew that was a huge stress relief, because we knew we needed it. And we could have easily said, you know what, I don't have time for that today. Or you know what, let's push that to the side. I'll work out later. But then your stress level raises and you have less of ability to mentally, like when I'm done working out, I'm so mentally clear. I actually get a lot of business ideas after I work out. I'm motivated, I'm excited, I'm inspired after my workout. So I think most people would be, but we don't consider that. We don't think about the things that suppress our mood and our ambition in life or our motivation. And like, maybe it's not working out for you. Maybe it's knitting. I don't know. I'm just saying that a lot of people that don't exercise or don't do it on a regular basis don't realize how rejuvenating it is and how uplifting. And I could be having a really low day, I love the sun. Like with those cloudy days, they're more challenging for me to like wake up and get going. And if I get a workout in, That's much different than days where I don't work out. So regardless of what's happening during this holiday season, you know what would be a better idea? Here's a better thought, is you only work out when you're stressed. Or you only work out during stressful times, which is a lot, right? Probably you have September, super stressful. Summer's coming to an end, kids are going back to school. That's a stressful time. Then we have Thanksgiving, traveling, friends, even Halloween. Halloween could be stressful, right? Holiday season. So only work out during those times, and you'd probably be much better off than not working out those times at all. I think that's the best we can do. Make a continual effort to do better. That is a great, put that on a t-shirt. That is a great mantra to live by. Like, you continually take steps. You do the best you can. If it doesn't work out, like, you should be exercising, especially during the holiday season. That will reduce your stress. That will make you feel better. That will give you mental clarity. That will give you more control of your emotions. And if you miss a workout, then you pull yourself together and you work out the next day, right? I'm going to wrap things up here. I think I covered most of what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to start off with mindset, actually, and having that mindset of this holiday season is going to be enjoyable. It's not going to be, I'm not going to allow it to ruin my holiday season or stress me out, so it's not going to be enjoyable. And sometimes we have that conversation, like Dorothy and I, like, the gala was stressful. I'm not going to lie. It's the biggest event we've ever put together. That was the most people we've ever had in a room. And there's a lot of things. And we said, we had a clear decision and conversation. We said, if this is going to stress us out too much, it's not worth it. And that's it. Like, that's a very clear decision. Like, are we going to move forward with this now? And will we do it in the future? Because if it's too stressful, if it wears on our relationship, family, if it takes too much away from our business or clients, like, is it worth it? Probably not. So we had that clear decision, and that changed things. Like, okay, we can handle this amount of stress. We can handle getting through this because we want to have a bigger one in the future. And if we said to ourselves, we're not able to handle this, then move on and do something else. And I feel like that's good advice to share with you guys for whatever it is. Like, whatever it is in your life that may become too stressful, then don't do it. You don't have to do it, right? So I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you all so much for joining. I think, like, our time is the most important thing we will ever have in this life. And anytime someone shares time with us or comes in and watches a video or joins us at the gala, like, they took time away from something else that they could have done. And you know, it was interesting. Like, I mean, we have a pretty good following online, and we have friends in the community. I just thought it was really it meant a lot that there were so many new people there. Like, there was a lot of new people. I thought we'd see a lot more familiar faces, and it was in large part a brand new crowd or a brand new audience. At least 75%, 80% of people. So I think that was really cool. Hopefully next time we'll have more of our MAT people show up that are local, and then so we could celebrate them. And but overall, I don't think it could have gone better. And I am so grateful for everyone that was there and participated. And I had a great time. I'm out of here. Thank you guys so much. Reduce stress this holiday season. Don't let it take control over you. You control it, right? Bye, everyone.